Today, I will tell the story of Princess Alice of Battenberg, the mother of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Princess Alice was born in 1885 as the eldest daughter of Prince Louis of Battenberg and Princess Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine, a granddaughter of Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom. Her son is the well-known Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and one of her brothers was Louis Mountbatten, 1st Earl Mountbatten of Burma. Because Louis was a British naval officer, her family primarily resided in England. By the age of 3 or 4, they noticed that Alice was different from others, and upon examination, they discovered she was congenitally deaf. As a result, her family doted on her. Despite her deafness, Princess Victoria encouraged her to speak from an early age. Alice herself was intelligent and learned to lip-read and speak despite her inability to hear. At 17, Alice met Prince Andrew of Greece at the coronation of King Edward VII and they fell in love. At 18, Alice decided to marry him. They held 2 wedding ceremonies, one in a Lutheran church and another in an Orthodox church. Alice's maternal relatives, including her Aunt Elizabeth, Grand Duchess of Russia, and her Aunt Alexandra, Empress of Russia, along with her mother-in-law, Grand Duchess Olga of Russia, lent prestige to the occasion. She wore her maternal family's star tiara at the wedding, which was lost during the Russian Revolution. After marriage, despite financial constraints, the couple was very happy. Within 10 years, they had 4 daughters and led a relaxed branch-off life. During the Balkan Wars, while Andrew was at the front lines, Alice and her sister-in-law, Crown Princess Sophia, established hospitals to care for the wounded and engaged in charitable activities, a common role for royal women of that time. Since the assassination of King George I in 1913, Greece has been plunged into prolonged turmoil. Alice's youngest daughter, Sophie, was born during this period. At the end of World War I, King Constantine I of Greece, due to his pro-German stance, was forced to abdicate, marking the start of the Greek royal family's first exile. In 1920, King Alexander of Greece died from sepsis caused by a monkey bite. King Constantine I was restored to the throne, and Princess Alice's family returned to Greece. It was during this time that she finally gave birth to her long-awaited son, who would later become Prince Philip. Having previously given birth to 4 daughters, Alice doted particularly on this son. In 1922, during the Greco-Turkish War, Greece suffered defeat. King Constantine I abdicated once again, and Prince Andrew, due to a command error, was sentenced to death. At the request of his family and with the intervention of King George V of the UK, Prince Andrew was spared execution but was expelled from Greece. The entire family went into exile again, this time settling in France. Initially, the family was quite happy despite financial struggles, supported by wealthy relatives. However, in 1925, Alice had an affair with a married Englishman whose name remains unknown, which did not continue. Subsequently, likely due to prolonged exile and the tragic deaths of 2 aunts' families, Alice began showing signs of mental instability. She suddenly converted to Eastern Orthodoxy, claimed to have regained some hearing to communicate with God, and returned home declaring herself to be the bride of Christ. Concerned, her family promptly admitted her to a psychiatric hospital. During this period, Alice's husband Andrew had long forgotten their earlier vows and began using what little money they had to support mistresses. Taking advantage of Alice's hospitalization, he quickly married off all 4 daughters within a year. The youngest daughter, Sophie, was just 16 years old, but she seemed to be in love of her own accord. Andrew entrusted their youngest son Philip to relatives' care while he lived freely with his mistress. Hearing this news only further distressed Alice. However, Andrew's actions were understandable. The 2 elder daughters were already of marriageable age, and the 3rd daughter was also 20 years old. Moreover, he had selected wealthy family heads for them. Before Alice lost her mind, she also hoped to marry her daughters off, only for financial reasons. Alice was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Later experts believed that Freud's and other doctors' treatment methods were neither scientific nor humane. For instance, despite knowing she was deaf, doctors would question her with their backs turned. Moreover, Freud believed her mental issues stemmed from excessive sexual desire, leading to multiple electroshock treatments to diminish her libido, which directly caused her early menopause and entry into menopause. Eventually, she seemed to recover on her own. During her 2-year hospitalization, hardly any family members visited her. Moreover, she harbored deep resentment towards her family for forcibly admitting her to a psychiatric hospital and subjecting her to much suffering. Consequently, after her discharge, she did not maintain contact with her family. It was not until 1937 that she saw part of her children again, including her third daughter Cecily and Philip. She saw her entire family for the first time at Cecily's funeral in November. After meeting them, Alice expressed a desire to live with her husband Prince Andrew and son Philip, but Andrew refused. Philip believed he had a broader future in the Royal Navy. In 1935, Greece restored the monarchy. After Cecily's funeral, Alice returned alone to Athens. With the outbreak of World War II, she chose to remain in Athens and engaged in charitable work, aiding impoverished people and Jews. When questioned by the German army, she pretended to be deaf and mute. In 1944, Princess Alice's husband, Prince Andrew, passed away. His death occurred on the same day he was sentenced to be executed, a twist of fate. Prince Andrew left behind debts exceeding £17,000, which was more than a year's salary for a British naval officer at the time, around £1,000. However, this likely had little impact on her. In any case, this troubled marriage came to an end. In 1947, Princess Alice's son, Prince Philip, became engaged to Princess Elizabeth of the United Kingdom, who later became Queen Elizabeth II. Upon seeing her son marry the future queen, she brought out 2 royal tiaras regardless of the consequences. One tiara was dismantled to create an engagement ring and bracelet, while the other was presented as a gift to her daughter-in-law upon their meeting. Alice attended her son's wedding in November, her only attendance at her children's weddings. The dismantled tiara was said to have originated as a gift from her uncle, Tsar Nicholas II, while others claim it was a gift from her husband, Prince Andrew. As for the tiara Alice gave to Elizabeth, the future queen put it away as soon as she had it in her hand, and she never wore it again until princess and grew up. In 1952, she attended the coronation of her daughter-in-law, Queen Elizabeth II, becoming one of the few princesses to have witnessed the coronations of 6 British monarchs. Alice's life gradually settled down during this time. Her children supported her in pursuing her interests. She became a nun and opened a convent. As she grew older, Alice focused on fundraising, managing the convent, and engaging in charitable activities. She often visited relatives' homes to see her grandchildren. Additionally, due to her son's marriage, her status within the royal family significantly increased. She also witnessed Princess Anne-Marie of Denmark marrying into the Greek royal family and the birth of Crown Prince Pavlos. In 1967, following a coup in Greece, Prince Philip promptly brought Alice to Buckingham Palace to spend her later years in peace. During this time, Alice perhaps experienced her most tranquil period since adulthood. However, in 1969, her second daughter, Theodora, passed away, which was a heavy blow for Alice. 2 months later, she ended this tumultuous life. According to her wishes, her family buried her in Jerusalem. In 1994, Alice was posthumously awarded the Righteous Among the Nations by the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial in Israel, the highest honor Israel bestows upon non-Jews. Alice's fate shares similarities with Queen Victoria Eugenie of Spain. They both had deep affection with their husbands at the time of marriage. However, Alice's situation was much better than Queen Victoria Eugenie's. She had fewer official duties to fulfill, and her children did not inherit hemophilia or hearing impairments. Moreover, her son became the Prince Consort of the United Kingdom. Nevertheless, had she not married into the Greek royal family, considering her beauty and intelligence, her life might have been even more prosperous.